All right, Showtime is not going to be outdone, not by anything, maybe not even tennis. All right, the pay TV unit of CBS will take on competitor HBO and the likes of Amazon Prime and Netflix by selling standalone digital subscriptions that begins in July.
Well, the service is going to cost $10.99 a month. It'll work on Apple devices. So with us now to talk about the new service is Matt Blank, Showtime's chairman and CEO. Matt, good to see you today.
You guys, thank you.
Okay, so how did you come with your price point, $10.99?
Well, we started out by looking at our current business model. And, when you adjust for all of the offers out there and the packages out there, that was about what consumers are paying on average through their cable operator or their satellite provider or through AT&T UVerse or Verizon Fios. Additionally, we looked at the over-the-top video business, and we just liked the feel of that number and from a value standpoint and where we were versus some of the competition.
Well, the competition being HBO Now, right, which just launched a few weeks ago at $14.99. Yep. So do you think that was overpriced?
We'll see. When you look at online video, you don't see a lot of pricing like that, and that's why we picked the $10.99 price, and we feel pretty good about it. I think it would be easier to raise prices at some point in the future if we felt that was necessary than to lower prices. So we want to start out with a price that we think will attract the most consumers.
Wondering if you could just explain how something like this would work. Is this where, let's say you have an Apple TV set up at home, you go through those list of icons, everything from, Crunchyroll to Crackle. Now there's going to be one that's separate for Showtime.
Hopefully you have to go positioned a little better than Crunchyroll.
Well, this is what I want to get at, is how do you negotiate to get that icon high up in the offering? And then also, is this going to be the thing where you have to go to your computer, you type in a code? No. What's the process?
You're going to well, you have to log on first, obviously. You go to Apple TV and you go to that app and you follow the directions. You put your credit card in, and then you can start watching. And you can start watching, on a iPhone, on an iPad, on Apple TV. One thing that distinguishes us, in addition to the 1,600 to 1,800 hours of on-demand product, is there also be 2 live feeds available to you: the Showtime West Coast feed and the Showtime Coast feed. And we think that's a big benefit, particularly in the sports area and in boxing in particular.
Can you give us some idea of the cost of setting up something like this? I mean, it's one thing to say, okay, we're going to put an icon, but you've got to actually do all that. There's got to be the back office payment processing. Is that expensive?
Well, the back office payment processing is Apple at the moment. That's okay. You're subscribing through Apple. We have had a development group for several years now that develops our apps. It's the same group that built Showtime On Demand originally, and now Showtime Anytime, our TV Anywhere app for the past several years. So we've had a good deal of experience in developing these apps, and that's what this group is doing. And each time you have a new provider, you have to integrate with that provider. So you don't just build that app one time. You build it, and then you build it again, and you build it again.
Right. These are all derivatives of what you've done before. Okay, Matt. So what about the pay TV subscribers right now who are buying, who are subscribing to Showtime through Verizon Fios and their cable operators? I mean, are you going to cannibalize some of those viewers?
We don't think so. I tend to, look, one way of looking at it is there's 10 to 12 million people who have a broadband-only subscription. They don't take video services. I thought, an important note in the Comcast earnings release a few weeks ago was that they now have more broadband subscribers than they do video subscribers. So that's a growing opportunity. So I think that first target for us is those 12 million or so broadband subscribers who aren't taking video. And why not go to them with a different video offering at a good pricing where they could buy Showtime for $10.99. I tend to take a little bit bigger view of the world out there. We've got nearly 24 million subscribers. There's over 115 million television households. So think of the opportunity just generally in the video universe to grow Showtime. I don't think it comes through cannibalization.
Well, do you think that, okay, it's not through cannibalization, but do you think eventually pay TV that model is going to go away then? I
really don't. I think, eventually, I'm not sure what eventually means, but probably not in
our lifetime?
Our professional lifetime. I think a lot of people are very happy you know, getting all those channels, sitting down and watching television, and the technology keeps improving in your home.
But Matt, how can it not? If more people are going over the top, how can it not cut into the pay TV model, and eventually make it go away?
Well, is it going away, or is it just fairly stable from a video standpoint? Remember, the people that offer you those video services, for the most part, are also broadband providers. So broadband becomes a very important part of their offering. And are you really going to distinguish in the future? Do people really care where that signal's coming from, or do they care about the consumer interface? And one thing about these apps that we develop, they are great consumer interfaces.
Yeah.
And they're consumer interfaces that we think compete very well from an experiential standpoint with the way people use the internet in general. And that's important.
So how does this affect, how does this impact, for instance, Showtime? You know, I'm thinking about Dish today and the news that they might buy T-Mobile. But I know Showtime is on Sling TV, right? That product.
Not yet.
Not yet, but it will be, though.
I would expect it will be at some point.
Okay. So how does this over-the-top offering then? How does that impact, or is impacted by something like Dish acquiring T-Mobile?
Dish and T-Mobile. Well, the way I would look at it, so Dish now, in addition to their very successful backyard satellite dish business, or rooftop satellite dish business,
which is going away,
now has a gigantic wireless device business. And I think ultimately, you know, what will we really distinguish between, you know, tablets, phones, a television screen in some way, shape, or form? So it makes them a bigger potential distributor as the technology continues to evolve.
Does Ergen need this?
You know, I can't speak for Charlie Ergen. I actually spoke to him yesterday about us going over the top. He didn't mention anything about his T-Mobile deal. But, you know, Charlie he's an aggressive guy, and he's always talking about things.
But he's the standalone guy right now, right?
Yeah, he is, and he's awfully smart.
All right, Matt, thank you so much. Great to see you.
Thank you.
Thank you for stopping by.
Log on and buy Showtime.
That's right. We are Showtime. I am a Showtime fan, I have to say.
Begins in July, right?
It begins in July with to be with the launch of Ray Donovan and Masters of Sex in their 3rd season.
All right. Matt Blank, Chairman and CEO of Showtime. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks very much. All right. Still ahead on the Bloomberg Market Day, Jeb Bush inches closer to his presidential run, saying